Today I'm with Paige Henry at the Tarpon Springs Aquarium and Animal Rescue Shelter. Paige, thank you for agreeing to talk with us today.
Yeah, of course. It's my pleasure.
Tell me a little bit about the center.
We are educational. We do provide animal rescue, primarily unwanted or surrendered pets. But there's a lot of animals that kind of don't fit into their norm. A lot of reptiles and farm animals. So we are trying to be a home for animals like that.
Tell us what kind of animals you have, where you get them, and what kind of things you treat when they come here.
Absolutely. So we do, of course, local aquatics. We don't do marine mammals. We focus primarily on fish and sharks, which I could go off on a whole tangent on how amazing fish are. They're some of my favorite marine animals. But then we also have a whole reptile rescue area. We have large snakes and lizards and huge tortoises, a big alligator, snapping turtle, a couple gators, as well as some smaller critters, leopard geckos, bearded dragons. And then we most recently, about a year and a half ago, opened a petting zoo. So we're able to have we have 3 little piggies, goats, a mini horse, turkeys, ducks, chickens, bunnies, that sort of thing as well. It depends. Some previous owners will keep their animals in great care. They just can't keep up with it for whatever reason. I know we have a parrot up front that was the case. But then sometimes their lives have been such that they can't care for the animal anymore. And so we do get some health issues going in. Of course, we have a veterinary team, several vets that I work with that can come out and help us treat some of those conditions.
Where do you find these? I mean, you don't drive down the road and pick animals up. Or maybe you do, but how do you get your animals?
Well, occasionally we do have some that were wild caught. I have a tegu lizard and a tortoise that were simply roaming the streets by themselves. I have a couple snakes that were in the same boat. But typically people reach out to us for whatever reason. They can't care for their animal anymore. And of course, we can't accommodate everything. We have limited space, but with the enclosure space that I have, I do try to accommodate as many critters as possible.
And what kinds of injuries have you seen and treated here?
Yeah, great question. So I do have a cow right now that was all matted when we got him, which isn't a huge health issue, but he was a Highlander cow, so we were able to get some of that hair off him to help him stay cool. We've got snakes with mites that come in pretty bad condition. I once had a snake that hadn't been fed in almost 6 months. So, dying of starvation, stuff like that. It just is going to depend on the animal and the circumstances.
We're in the hurricane season, and that's always a concern for people in Florida. In a facility like this, what do you do to prepare?
Right. So we have a lot of tents, you might be able to see right behind me, as well as covering. So we take basically everything down that could be potentially damaging if it blew away. We don't want to create projectiles, certainly. What's
the most exotic animal you've seen here in the last 24 years?
Oh my goodness. I gotta say the Asian water monitor is what comes to mind. They're these amazing 6-foot lizards, one of the largest species in the world. They can run faster than nearly any other lizard on Earth. Carnivorous, of course, venom in their saliva, and people do get them as pets. I've got 2 at the facility that I'm accommodating right now. One large one and one that is a subadult female.
Wow, I don't think I want to be bitten by him. How many visitors do you get a year?
Oh, great question. I should know that off the top of my head, and I don't. I'm going to say, I'm just going to give you a day, because that's what I know off the top of my head. A busy day will have about 300 visitors, which is significant. Yeah.
And are you open 365 days a year?
Not quite. We do take 2 days off every year, one for Christmas, one for Thanksgiving. I say days off. Those are days we're closed to the public so that we can give our staff a bit of a break, but as part of the family, we're here anyway, just working extra hard.
Like any small business, it never stops, right?
That's right.
Just possibly the best part of a visit to this aquarium are the stingrays. These little guys are so loving. They absolutely hurry to the edge to be petted. You reach down, pet their heads, and they get very still. They do that even if there's not food involved. They will just mill, and then they boil the water as they wait for more attention to come their way.
Well, that's our morning at the Tarpon Springs Aquarium and Animal Rescue Facility. Quite a morning. Wide variety of animals here, friendly staff. It is a warm day, probably 90 degrees. try to come in October or March. It'll be more pleasant. But there is a wonderful variety here. The staff are quick to answer questions, lots of petting going on, and I think you'll really enjoy this. I'm Cliff Brock for World Travel Plus.